Dr. Gilda, it's another day and another great topic.
This is a great topic. You and I were talking not too long ago about how the young people, the Gen Zs, are going for looks. They will vote for somebody because of his looks, like really good looking governor of California. They would vote for him no matter what he says and how stupid it is and how against the grain it may seem. They will vote for him. And you and I were talking about how they will go for looks above everything else. Well, some Gen Zs realized this is a problem, and it's especially a problem for daters because when they're going for looks, that's all you get, just looks. So there's an organization decided to and has an interesting name to it also. It's called Unseen Connections. They have people meeting in a place. This is New York City, of course,
Mhm.
and they're putting blindfolds on.
Oh, wow.
And all they get to do is smell. Now, you know, olfactory senses are very, very strong. They get to smell the person, they get to hear the person's conversation, and they get to touch the person's hand. And there might be some chemistry of conversation going on. And they are intrigued. They have no idea what the guy looks like or the woman looks like. And then after they decide they like the conversation, they like the depth, they like beneath the surface that they're sensing, they remove their blindfold. And the reporter who was there said, you know, I really found a cute guy who was nice and he spoke well and I liked what he had to say. And who knows what'll happen next. Now, what do you think about putting on blindfolds before you meet a date? That's really a blind
I
date.
I think then you're not going to look at anything about looks or even sometimes even certain personality of nonverbal cues and how you act versus it's completely going to be compatibility.
It's
And
compatibility all the way.
compatibility so important to figure out if you're
Do you
compatible
like the
because
way he touched your hand? Do you like the way he shook hands? Was he a limp fish? Was he, a strong handshaker? I mean, you get to do all of that as far as it goes in touching, but you get to see non-verbally. And that may be an answer. Although I have to admit, I've gone out with guys who I had met online when I did that. And we had great conversation, but there was no chemistry between us. And I didn't want to do that anymore because I said to one guy, we had a great conversation. We had drinks. We had well, I don't drink, so I had water and or tea or whatever I had. And he had a drink and we just got along well, but there was no love connection there. And then I said to him, "This has been really nice." And he had expectations, and I said, "But there's no love connection here." And his face fell.
hmm,
Oh, I couldn't do this. I just couldn't do this again. I couldn't do this.
it's such a difficult thing when
It's
I was
so
part of
hard.
part of it because ultimately you think it's the right connection and bam it's not and you have to get back on the ladder again, but some guys aren't able to get lots of dates, and then they think this is the one and they don't want to go through the dating process any further and they just want
Nobody
to get.
likes this. Nobody
But
likes
that's
this.
the way it is now. Did you hear what percentage are now online dating to meet people in relationships versus being introduced? I think it's a huge number now.
Well, I have found that the best connections occur after somebody who knows me and knows the guy introduces us. I have found that to be the best. But as we get older, my friends are married. Most of my friends are married. And they will say, "No, I don't want to fix you up with this one. I don't fix you up. I know too much about him. I know." And so those opportunities are few. Um, I think when it was safe in New York, it was safe to walk the streets and people would look at each other and pick each other up and say hi, or we'd sit at a crowded restaurant. And I mean, you could still do that anywhere. My girlfriend had that happen to her here in Scottsdale. And now she's dating this guy who seems to be very nice. So, I mean, that can happen, but I spend a lot of time behind the computer. I don't go out that
Mm.
much. And so it's not so easy. It seems easy in movies, but it's not so easy. And
I think you have to make it a full-time job, and if you're not willing to make it a
uh,
full-time job, you're not going to have
well,
success.
if you already have a full-time job, let's face it. I mean, how much time are you going to want to devote to this? I mean, really.
I think to be successful on online dating, you need about 20 hours a week to devote
Oh, oh,
because you
oh.
got to speak to multiple people and figure out exactly if it's the right fit and know that you're going to be dropped too. It's a
Yeah.
survival of the fittest. And they're
Well,
talking to three different people too. And you have to be able to
right,
understand
right.
that and know if it's right or not. And I heard stories from other women I talked to when I was dating, and they were telling me, "Oh my gosh, I can't get this guy out of my life." And I tried telling him. He showed up with roses the first time, and all these different things. And I said, and it wasn't a connection at all. And they just think
Yeah.
and it's because they just don't
I,
understand.
I feel so bad about these guys who bring trinkets and roses, and I just feel horrible. I don't want them to put any money into anything. I just want to learn about his essence. I think this blind dating, the blindfolded dating, might have a future of some kind, at least for a little while. Um, because there's just too much emphasis put on looks and that determines chemistry. And we're all guilty of that. Either he has it or he doesn't for you. Either I have it or I don't for him. Um, he could want only blondes or only people with a lot of meat on them. I don't. And then I walk in, then there's a rail, and he goes, "Oh, oh, not for
We
me."
we could talk the catfishing, and I can imagine I was catfished multiple times, and I can imagine now with AI. Oh dear, my goodness, it would be very bad. And you could have a conversation with somebody, and it's not you at all; it's AI.
That is frightening. That's really frightening because some people invest a lot in their conversations with the opposite sex, only to find out it was a bot, it was a something
So
else.
that's why
Oh,
I got on the phone with them very early. I FaceTime with them early, and I got on a date early. Didn't wait and let the grass grow greener on the other side because
that's
that
very wise because then you will build up. If you don't do that, you will build up all kinds of images in your mind, thinking, "Oh my God, this is the one," and you're going to be happily ever after forever. And then you find out, I was wrong. So I think though, the whole point to all of this today is for us to look beyond what people look like, beyond the surface, and to find the essence of who someone is. And if we can close off the eyes and not see one another, then maybe we have a shot at that. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Only time will tell with this new dating opportunity, but
well, I mean,
unseen connections could be something that somebody would want to see, actually.
online dating, wrongs, rights, what's happening in it. A
Oh,
go figure. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult when the percentage of divorces and breakups happen to
oh,
go find somebody else, and you
well,
can't find them in the grocery store anymore.
Well, some people do. That's the crazy part. Some people,
I really like to get that survey and those numbers, and we could talk about that sometime.
yeah,
Because I'm telling you, I saw that 70% of marriages have come from online dating now. It's come the numbers really are changing in so many ways.
I know people who actually got married because of online,
Mhm.
and I know a few of them who met on Tinder. Now, I was under the impression that Tinder is only for sex, so I've stayed away from that.
No,
But
that's not
I,
true. I
well,
can give you,
they
I can, I say, but I stayed on Facebook dating, and that's the best one out of there because you can
really,
literally check in and know who the heck you're dating because you go right to their profile. It's
I,
pretty.
I,
You could do the research, and it's free.
I
Facebook
don't
dating's
think.
free. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. But that's it. That's
Uh,
so all the other ones they just hose the man that has to spend so much money to talk to the
oh,
woman.
that is well, they host both people, man and
I don't
woman.
think they don't really charge the woman as much as the man. Go figure.
Well, I interviewed for a for an article in the on the Today Show. I did this piece on a matchmaker, and she charged men $250,000 for each date that no, for to sign up with her, not for each date. The women paid $25 and they had to go through her scrutiny. She looked at them and she asked them questions and she
Yeah.
found out who they were. And so often I would be questioning, how does a guy spend $250,000 at knowing that the woman only wants him because he has money? And I said to the woman, this is not going to be a decent article until I actually interview some of the men who have partnered with these women. And I did ask one of these men, didn't you know? Because you had to be a millionaire. The woman looked at your financials, the matchmaker looked at your financials, etc. And he's dropping $250,000 like it's nothing. So I said, aren't you offended that a woman would be interested in you simply because you have a million at least dollars? And he said, no, I'm used to it. Not at all.
Yep. It's
Now,
different.
10 years later, this is what I love to do. 10 years later, I'd love to interview these marriages and find out which stayed and which didn't. Because I don't believe for a moment that anything that is built on material conquests is going to have a longevity to it. I
No
don't
doubt.
think. Now, I might be proven wrong. I don't know anybody out there. If
I
you
think
think,
it's one of the things of checking the box. If you have a great relationship too, and it's a connection, and one of the things is money, understand that.
well,
But there has to be more, and
that,
that man better figure that out. There has to be more.
I met one of my producers a couple of years ago said, I divorced my husband. I thought enough with him. And she figured I would definitely be married in a few years from now. And she was still marching around single. She said, I never thought it would be this hard. I said,
Exactly.
maybe you should have stuck with your husband.
All right.
She
So
said, yeah,
okay.
I think about that.
All right, drgilda.com. See, this is where I think this is a great spot for you. If you need relationship advice and are willing to pay for it, go to drgilda.com. Appreciate it, Gilda. We'll